First of all, it is National Pi Day. For those of you who did not know, 3.14, and that 159 is where everything kind of goes crazy. Let's make sure let me make sure I got Rob. There's Rob. I can make you co-host as well. Whoa, no. I'm not gonna make you the host. Let's see. Where's Rafa? Rafa not here yet?
He's coming. I just talked to him.
Oh, you just talked to him? Fantastic. I love this so much from last time. I'm sharing it again. For those of you who missed it last month. So, there you go. That came from Rafa.
Love that.
Yeah, you gotta love Rafa, right?
We love Rafa.
So here we are. We're gonna keep cooking. We got a lot to cover today. So, but the first thing is, what's your one word for the federal government? I got a bunch of them that I can share with you, but that is the question of the day. Pop that in. Wait a minute. I got to put that in for the chat. Make sure everybody can do everyone. There you go. Pop it in the chat. You can even say where you're from if you'd like to. One word for the federal government, and that can be anything that you're thinking of the federal government, because we are not going to judge what you have to say. We'll probably laugh at some of it though. So we have a couple here that are pretty good. Where we are today is we've got $410 billion spent. This was actually as of the 1st of April. But $410 billion spent. That's only 24% of the total. And we're in Q2, almost getting into Q3. And what does that mean, Miss Irene Morales?
It means that they're spending a lot of money and they're going to continue to spend a lot more money.
That's
because
right.
Even in any recession, the government will continue to spend.
And that's why we love the government, right? So we'll be talking a little bit about this. We have a lot of things happening by September 2023. They got to spend the rest of that money. And here's how it's happening. And I'm going to show this to you because this is crazy, crazy stuff. So 0.91% of the opportunities are showing up on SAM.gov. You're saying, what are you saying, Dave? I'm saying that 99% aren't showing up on SAM.gov is what I'm saying. Most of these are being shortlisted or have no competition at all. So we'll be talking a little bit about that with Sam Radar, and the report that is what I'm quoting right now is what we ran earlier this month for Sam Radar. And what do we need to do? Get your freaking company positioned. Let me make sure that we got Rafa coming in. I don't see him yet. So as soon as he gets here, we'll get him. So participation is easy. For those of you who've never been here before, you can participate, you can chat, and we'll share all the links in there and the docs. If you have any questions, I don't know, we don't have a crazy amount of people, so we'll probably just unmute people as we need to if you have questions. Quick disclaimer, if you're with industry, this is not affiliated or endorsed by GSA or any other agencies. For informational purposes, doesn't guarantee an award. That's for industry. Any govies here, your participation is voluntary so that you can participate. And it's not an endorsement or agreement to purchase from any vendor that happens to be here. Today, we will connect you with experts. We'll be discussing what works, highlighting sponsors and partners, and that includes samradar.com, because you need help to get into the federal space. We have some really cool, exciting things that are happening here today. And why is it that I didn't have my main thing? Hang on one second. I need to check one thing, but I will open the poll while we're doing this and say, why are you here today? Here because you're new? You have federal contracts and want to sub? Or were you one of the 116,000 federal prime contractors that won so far? Or some nut sent you an email. So you can let us know what made you decide to pop in here today, and we will get to, hang on a sec. Trying to find out one thing, make sure I have, there it is. I just want to make sure I have the right presentation running while you're answering that poll. And we will get to what we're popping in the chat. You can go ahead and pop it in, Zachary. We have the handouts today going into the chat that you can grab. A lot of folks are new and right across the board. And some nuts sent me an email. I love it because I know who the nut is. And we have a bunch of people that have been here before. Welcome back. We got a lot of stuff to do here today. Did you pop that in, Zachary? All right. So Sally White says no words. Methodical says Amy. All righty then. Marcel saying opportunity. There's a lot of folks that look at it that way. And Helene is here the second Tuesday. Love it. So what's your one word? We have a bunch of them. Here's what everybody said coming in here. And while we're finishing up that poll, how many folks have voted in that poll? Pretty good. 16 to 26. We got a whole bunch of wallflowers right now.
Yeah.
All right. Complicated, frustrating, opportunity. That's one that agrees with who just said that. That was Marcel. Maze, buyers, complex, frivolous. Ooh. Slow. There's another opportunity. Fair. Train wreck. Love it. Obtuse, amazing, great, unique, organized. Not so sure about that one. Bloated, confusing, unfair, Byzantine rules, disorganized, messy, sensational, utilitarian. Okay. Good, busy, inefficient, impenetrable, untapped, difficult, intricate, bureaucratic, necessary, potential, lazy, massive, equality. All right. Secure, hard nut to crack. How many agree with that one? Could be more efficient. How many agree with those two? Detailed, complicated, reservoir, good old boys club, and strange. So there we go. Any more that are in there? One of their scary, Sally White says. Yeah, sometimes I would agree. So we're going to end this poll in 3, 2, 1, and a lot of folks have been here. 3/4 of people have been here before. Gluttons for punishment. We thank you for joining us again. You're new to federal, about 40%. Okay, fantastic. Well, we are gonna be cranking it out today and having a good time because we always do, and I always appreciate the folks that are here. If you have any other things you want to pop in there, let me know. So I asked this question coming in. So we got a couple of newbies coming in for Jeff from MedData. Finding RFQs, best webinar ever if we can find RFQs. We'll talk a little bit about that. Lewis from LUMAT Enterprise. I learn information potentially launches me to my very first government contract. That's where we want to be, right, Lewis? Always love that. Mike from Pacific Northwest Glass and Mirror tells me how to bid and procure contracts. We will be talking a lot about that today. Ron from SaniCare. I get an understanding of how to deal with the federal government. Yes, yes, yes. Jan from Targets Unlimited. Mr. Lowe shakes, rattles, and rolls. Hey, that's my favorite so far, Jan. Love it. Obviously, you've been here before. So yeah, we love that. We do have something special for you in just a minute, dealing with Pi Day. I will unleash something that you did not expect today, I promise. Mike from Mike Moneagle Voiceovers. I figure out how to sell narration services to the Fed. Mike, they do buy narration services. How do you know? Because you hear it on their public services announcements, as well as other things that they do. Stephen, Billy Edward Consulting. You team and provide attendees with a way forward to win a federal contract. I love that. Way forward, moving our way forward. Stu Pryor Solutions. If the presenter presents a platform with proven results, there you go. Thank you for that setup, because that's where I'm going to say samradar.com is a proven results place. Yesterday's Monday Roundtable was ridiculous. For those of you who are on Sam Radar and missed it, you get a copy of that. Make sure you check it out. Both sessions, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Crazy awesome, right, Sally? And Greg?
Yeah. Can you enable me again?
It was incredible. We had the most.
I got
amazing.
that.
Go ahead, Greg.
Okay, Greg's coming back.
Oh.
And is Rafa here yet? Rafa not here. All
And
right.
then-
He's wrapping
and
up
then-
meeting. He'll be right here.
All right. Yeah.
And then Dave, the second Sally White is actually Peter, even though it says Sally White. So if you want to show his page,
okay.
you'll see Peter. Yeah, he didn't have the dial-in. So yesterday's was amazing. Dave facilitated an incredible discussion on what primes need, relationships. It was excellent.
Yeah, it was out of hand. It wasn't me that did it. It was the folks that were joined up there. For those of you that were there, crazy, awesome, and it is so much
Yeah,
fun.
it was
And I'll
very
tell you
special, very special.
this, super. Peter Timbus with an A, right, Peter?
Yes.
All right, there it is. Got you
There it
changed. So yeah, for the folks that are here for the first time, there is a movement happening, and Sam Radar is helping drive that movement, and that's why we're here. We're here to help each other. Yesterday, Lou was out of hand on the second one, and who was it that did it on the first one? It was just perfect.
Mark Bransford.
Mike Bransford, right? So yeah, that was awesome. So whoops, I went the wrong way. So here we go. 3 questions for today. So we're going to set it up. What does the government tell you to do, and does it work? do relationships really matter? And how do you find and interact with decision makers? So real quick, let everybody know who I am. I'm Dave Lowe. I'm the CEO of ISI Federal. I also founded samradar.com and some other solutions that we have. But the biggest news is this. For those of you who don't know about this yet, it is the FBC event. And here's the information. And if you use GPC 50 off, you get $50 off your registration. I am driving everybody there. I happen to be speaking there from 3 to 4. I'll be batting cleanup for that. And we will, for all the Sam Radar folks that sign up before the event, you will have access to the VIP suite after the event, where we're going to have a superpower networking. If you can get to Washington, D.C. on April 19th, this is live, real in person, actually touching individuals and seeing them and being in the same room together, because there's a huge gap. And these guys, the Federal Business Council runs GPC. They also run a whole bunch of other things. And we are partnering with them. Big news coming down the pipe. And it affects the pricing of Sam Radar. So if you're not on Sam Radar yet, you have a limited time to get the $150 off and lock that in for life. If you don't do it before the 19th, you're probably not going to see that price ever again, and a lot of the benefits of that. So I'm highly encourage you. Number one, go to the event. Number two, get to Sam Radar and sign up. Since 2009, we've been helping companies. You'll see on the right-hand side, Market Essentials uses all that stuff on the left-hand side with all those contracts and contacts, and helps you identify folks, and we appreciate folks that use that system. GovBrief we use to reach federal stakeholders as well as industry stakeholders just like you. Samradar.com. Oh, real quick, govbrief.us. We have a bunch of things coming up. You can check it out there. And if you want to reach federal decision makers, program managers specifically, because we have couple 100,000 of program managers in our database that we market to. We market your message to them, and it's not a sales message, it's an education message which draws them in, and usually in the 80 to 90 to 100, sometimes 200, 300 folks come from the government. If you want to get in on that, the next openings are after the 1st of May, and there's limited space. And that gets me, I'm not even going to ask this question because we're going to ask some questions later. But the Sam Radar is a game changer. The news is with the Federal Business Council partnership that we just created. The news is coming out. I know Julie. Is Julie here? I thought Julie was going to be here. I don't see her. But Julie's going to is helping with that. We also monitor SAM.gov and GSA eBuy with systems and market directly to GSA. Is Rafa in the house yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. I'll show
way.
you his picture because we'll be reaching out to him, and he has the coolest glasses, but we can't bust on him right now. But Rafael Marrero and Company helps with your brand, your federal brand, capability statements, briefings, videos, websites. You can see it right there in business cards. And if you get this look from folks in the federal government, it's probably because you don't look like you belong. And he can help you belong. And he's one of the folks that I've worked with for several years because he does all the prep work for that and makes you look like you belong in the federal government. Highly encourage you to reach out to Rafa. We also have Greg Clark. Greg Clark helps with what? What do you do, Greg Clark?
Proposals, responding to RFPs. Part of that where you have to identify opportunities and then evaluate them to determine if it's a good fit for your experience and capabilities. And if it is, then we can help you with your proposal to increase your chances of winning. We also do GSA schedule support and OASIS support, any of the other contract vehicles that are all related. So basically, we're the paperwork people, right?
Yep. And I love paperwork people because you know I am the best at paperwork, right, Greg? Not that guy. So I appreciate it. I'm seeing if Jules is going to join us today. Julie Branson, she does speech writing, and she's got an event coming up next week on GovBrief where we're going to be talking about leveraging Congress. We also have the great Sally White. She's an Uber connector, master networker, and LinkedIn maven. So highly recommend. Go ahead, Sally. Where are you out of? You're out of where? And you're out of, and where are you going to? Is she talking?
Thank you.
On mute.
Thank you. I live in Park City, I live in Park City, Utah, and I'm heading to New Orleans today. And then
Uh-oh. Sally got locked it up.
Damn airport
Heading to New
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you got to love the airport Wi-Fi. So Sally is heading to New Orleans. She helps companies. She actually does marketing and working at events, which will be coming up. I'll be talking about an event in the one at FBC. She works those types of events and can help you with that. Peter Timbers is in the house as well. Peter, tell us about you.
Well, we've been financing government contractors for the last 32 years. And what makes us different is we're going to lend to your opportunity rather than your financial statements. But I wanted to bring up the point. I was a speaker at the 8A conference several weeks ago in New Orleans, and we were chatting with everybody, and it's 60% of 8A companies never win a single federal government contract.
That's
And the
60%.
In the average 8A, it takes 4 to 5 years to get their first contract. So in addition to, I was a speaker, but we had a booth there, and I talked to many people about market intel. And I talked, hopefully they reached out to Sam.Radar Radar, because you've got to increase, you've got to speed up that whole process. And where will it do? Sam.Radar Radar. So I highly recommend people going and getting the market intel, get the contracts. And once you get the contracts, your financial worries go away because we'll fund it.
And I love it. And you've been doing this for a long time, and you specialize in 8A, which is one of the reasons why you were at that conference. That's one of the places. So I love it, man. I'm glad you did it. And there's a bunch of folks, I'm sure, that had that really benefited from you being there in your process. And we also have Irene Morales. Tell us about you, Irene.
Hey, so we are also paperwork people, just different from Greg. We do the certifications aspect. So if you're interested in getting 8A certified, women-owned small business, any certification that exists, whether it be state, local, any government certification or private certification, we got you. And I just wanted to piggyback off of what Peter said on how important it is to get yourself branded. And, you know, the federal government wants people that want to be contractors. They don't want just people that we do this for a living and maybe we want a contract. Like, they want dedicated contractors. They want your website to have a government tab. And that's where Dr. Marrero comes in. And then a lot of our clients, like, they get certified and then I get contacted months later, like, well, now what? Like, we're not getting any contracts. We can't. And then at that point, that's when I send them to Dave or Greg for some help with their proposals. But it's really important. It's imperative that you market yourself and that you are very invested. It's not easy to get these contracts by no means. And you have to be really invested in getting them. And that's why Sam Radar and market analysis is going to help with all that. So it's a full service thing we got going on here.
Yeah, it is crazy, and it's growing. And you just came on board not too long ago. I know you're associated with Rafa. Always love what
I
you
used to
do.
be a senior analyst for Rafael Marrero and Company.
That's right. And you were a Govy, weren't you?
I was. I was with the Department of Justice. I was a federal officer, so I've seen how things work from the inside. That's another reason why I can tell you why Sam Radar is imperative, because from my point of view on the inside, we had people that we worked with consistently and that we knew. So a contract came out, never really came out.
You had people that you work with consistently and regularly, and that's not fair. That's not fair, Irene. Not fair.
Not fair at all.
Not fair.
But that's just how it works. Listen, you know somebody, you know their work ethic, you know how they go. Why give somebody else an opportunity?
What?
Unless
you mean you have
insert
preferential treatment and you go to people that you know, like, and trust? Shut up, Irene.
I know, right? Crazy.
I love it. So we'll reach out to you on some of this too. So the whole idea is we're gonna throw those questions out and we'll talk about it. So I also want to call out Brian Hebel. Brian Hebel is another former Govy, just like Irene. He's written a book called How to Market and Sell to the U.S. Government. We team up on multiple things, Brian and I, because we're always interested in people that are doing the right things. And you guys are being introduced by default with people that are doing the right things. And I want to make sure that everybody knows who are the good guys, because there's a couple of folks out there, just saying, a lot of them based in Tampa, St. Pete, I don't talk bad about anybody except for them. And we just want you to make sure that you know who the good folks are, because you do things right and good things happen. So let me ask you this. So I'm going to open this poll up. I'm going to try to do this anyway. Hot seat question number 1 for everybody is, what does the government tell you to do, and does it work? And here's the questions you have. Look at the forecast, watch opportunities on sam.gov, get a GSA contract, meet with a small business leader. They're going to tell you a lot of things to do, right? So what do they do, and does it work for you? And I'm going to reach out. Julie, you here? Julie Branson.
Yes.
There she is. There's Julie Branson. You got something coming up in a couple of weeks. Next week, or I guess it is next week. I don't know when it is. March 22nd, whatever March 22nd is. So we're going to be talking about Congress with you, right? But tell me real quick, what does the government tell you to do, and does it work? As a small business lady, woman-owned small business. Yep.
They say to talk to the small business liaison and to go look for opportunities on sam.gov. And then SBA has has programs. And back to Irene, my women-owned business just lapsed because I changed to an LLC, but I'm a single person LLC.
Right.
And they want all this documentation that's for a big LLC. And I'm like, the paperwork doesn't exist, and you can't. There's no human at SBA to talk to. It's a computer system, right?
Julie, the computer don't make mistakes, though.
I know. As a single person LLC, they're asking me for the minutes of my meeting, the name of my board members, all this stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't exist. Like, I can't fix it. So, so somebody like Irene, you need somebody to work through that, because a computer, you're just like, computer, it's like, I feel like I'm talking to Hal. What is it, 2001?
So quick question, Julie, wait a minute.
Let's take that offline. Let's take that one offline, Julie. Yeah, let's stay on the question of what. So you mentioned sam.gov and small business liaison.
And they say to get the certification, but then they block me from getting the certification.
Oh, gotcha. So that's what happened there. Is they block it. So
we can get over that roadblock.
Yeah,
no worries.
Irene can certainly help with that. So then is Rafa here yet?
Does not look like. Let me reach out to him.
All right, I was going to reach out to Rafa for that, but all right, Greg. Well, they also tell us, like, part of this, one of the questions I have is to get a GSA contract. Is that the answer?
Maybe it might be the answer. If you have an agency that you developed a relationship with, maybe you're doing business with them, and they come back and say, you know what, I don't want to have to put this out to bid every time we want to do it. If you have a GSA schedule contract, we can do more work with you. We can just go directly to you. Then that'll work. But if you don't have relationships, it's probably not going to work. And I say probably not because, as we've discussed for a long time, most people who get on the GSA schedule never make a dollar.
Wait a minute.
They don't have a plan.
No, money's going to fall from the sky. That's what we hear.
Everybody hears $40 billion a year in sales, but that's what the government buys from companies on the schedule and feels, well, I'll get on and I'll get my share, but it's not the case. You have to have relationships within it for it to work. You have to market your contract aggressively, or it's not going to work.
Well, GSA is going to market it for you, though, I thought.
They are not. No, you either have. You either know where your sales are going to come from, and you're certain that you're going to get sales through your contract, or you shouldn't get on the schedule right now. You should find out where your sales are going to come from, and work with you, Dave, through ISI, and find people who buy what you sell. Develop, get meetings with them, develop a relationship with them, and when they're interested, they may just say, "Yeah, I love what you're saying. Are you on the schedule?" And then you come back to me and say, "Now I need to get on. They're forcing me to, because I'm losing sales by not."
There's the key, right? So, and if everybody's listening to Greg, and I love Greg, this is why I love Greg. This is why I work with Greg the most, because there's a lot of people that just want to sell you that contract. Say, well, you're going to win. You're going to get more money. And you looked at $40 billion. And there's two things. First of all, like you said, this is the number. 80% of new GSA contract holders are going to fail. And we just heard it about the 8As too. And let me tell you something, getting a GSA contract is like a physical, right? They check you out and make sure you belong there, right, Greg?
It's a cavity search.
No, the cavity search is the 8A. 8A is definitely, that's a full cavity search right there. If you're doing 8A, they really get into your business. So I'm going to shut this poll down in 3, 2, 1. Let's see what we got. All right. They tell you to look at the forecast. That's correct. Watch opportunities with SAM. That's what everybody's going to say. I post everything with SAM.gov. That's what they're going to tell you. If you're talking to a contracting officer that you don't know, because they don't want to talk to you. That's the truth. All right. Attend vendor day, industry days. Love that. Sign up for prime holders. And some have won, right? They won contract using the government system. That's what Greg does. He helps people with the government system. And I appreciate that. So I wanted to just know what you guys were. My take on this, no shock, right? My take on this, and we look at all the data, fpds.gov is the tutorial I'm doing tomorrow, actually, at 1 p.m. And it goes with looking at the contracts that are there. And I want to show you this again. If you look at all the contracts that have been awarded to date, 4.9 million contract executions and 44,731 hit SAM.gov. What does that tell you about what they're telling you to do? The government system is driving you to a place where 99% aren't showing up on SAM.gov. The whole overall number, including GSA eBuy, is about 2% overall at the end of the year. That's what we see year after year after year. We see it. And if you want to see this, you can go to samradar.com /posts or whatever. You can go to the resource. Just go to the resources page, right, on samradar.com. You can download the whole report. It's free. You can download the whole report. It has NAICS codes. It has your competitors and how much they've won so far year to date. This is really great information. So the reason why we do this is because we need to be able to reach stakeholders. We talked about this a lot. And Greg got ahead of me talking about relationships, but it's all about relationships, right, Greg?
That's all it is,
That's all it is. And so what happens is, for those of you that are new, you have your top dogs that are your political appointees, you got your senior executives, and then you have your program folks and you have your procurement folks. And this is what happens. So these people care about getting the job done, and they, on the other side, care about getting the contract done. Real important. Everything we keep pushing through samradar.com, as well as the Monday roundtables and the movement that is happening that you want to be part of. I'm telling you, you want to get in on this right now because it is blowing up and you want to be part of it. But what happens is these folks have a need. They throw it over the fence. And that's why in your handouts, you have the winnable opportunity matrix. This is the program folks that throw it over the fence to the contracting folks. And they are going to create an opportunity from that between those. These folks deal with doing the T's and C's of the contract, and these folks deal with getting the job done. Real important not to pitch them wrong. Pitch buyers speak, and pitch program people program speak. You're going to see
that's really important, Dave. Let me just let's talk about that for a second, because we're talking to attendees here saying you got to make relationships with the government. Well, you don't want to call contracting and say, I have a product that you should buy. Contracting doesn't make those decisions. It's the program people who decide there's an identifying need and then send it to contract and say, we need this, go buy it. Put out a solicitation and buy it, or contract with these people and buy it. They don't talk to contracting and think you're going to get a contract, because those are the buyers. No, you're not going to get a contract from a buyer through a relationship, right? You need to talk to program people.
And well, it depends what you're selling though, too, because if it's commoditized, the buyer is probably more important than somebody that is specialized, right? If it's specialized and there's across the board, they're both important. They just don't speak.
They are.
They don't speak the same language.
The contracting people don't identify the need, do they?
No.
That's what I'm saying. They get told to buy stuff. That's
exactly right.
Yeah.
So real quick, I want to let you know that yesterday we found out about this in this event. The Federal Business Council is the government procurement conference, which is happening next month on the 19th. Please sign up for this and use the $50 off coupon. What was I going to say? Oh, we found out that there's 44 buyers so far and 900 meetings, over 900 meetings available to you. They're filling up. So if you want to come, you want to make sure you keep checking that for the buyers that show up. And the buyers do care about you. But to your point, Greg, you got to pitch the buyer what the buyer cares about. And we've been talking about that a lot throughout the course of time. So with this, I'm going to open this next one up, which is the hot seat question number 2 is, do relationships matter? Now, we already kind of said that, but I'm just throwing it out there because we have folks that really believe that no relationships should not matter because it's the government and it's fair. And while we're doing that, I have a special guest with me who has something that we all want to know because, hang on a sec, of this. It is National Pie Day. So, Zachary, you there? All right. Are you
Yep,
live?
I am here.
All right.
Let
So
me see if I can turn off my video. There we go.
Zachary he happens to be my son. But
Right.
years ago, while were you still in high school?
Yep.
So
Senior
he's
in
still
high school.
and he wrote a song that's a parody on Pi Day. So take us a little bit through this while folks are doing this for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, so I'll just sing the chorus here real quick, and then I'll post the video in the chat if you want to watch a little lyric video that at the end says music video coming soon that never actually happened. So just disregard that. But yeah, so this is a little parody that I wrote. So it's because it's Pi Day, gotta get a slice on Pi Day. Everybody's looking forward to the pecan, Pi Day, gotta get a slice on Pi Day. Everybody's looking forward to the pecan, pumpkin and yum, pumpkin and yum, lemon, but I'm looking forward to the pecan.
There it is.
That's about it.
You got it.
Awesome, man. That's
For
great.
those of you that weren't in high school 10 years ago, there was this terrible song called Friday that came out. And so that's a
Yes,
parody
oh
to
God.
that terrible song. So probably the people that are in like my dad's generation probably are think that's just a silly song, and it is what it is. But so a lot of people very much relate and have a lot of what's the word, hate for me for writing that melody. Writing to that
Everyone,
melody. They're like,
back-
don't remind
back
me of
in
this
the
terrible
day-
song. It's awful. So
Back in the day, if you were walking around high school and it was Friday, everybody was singing that godforsaken song.
it was
So I feel you there. I was in high school 10 years ago, so
there you
Oh,
go.
there you go. So that's
you go.
that's how you know the generation that Irene is in.
yeah.
So fantastic. That's awesome, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks for gracing us with your presence with that. And we'll go ahead and we'll stop this here. I want to see what everybody says here. So hot seat question number 2. It's critical sometimes, but bidding process. I love that. So who matters most? Contracting officer, program, contracting officer, representative, or OSDBU? So the first thing I'm going to say for everybody's edification is the OSDBU does not have the ability to buy anything. Am I right, Irene?
Correct.
That's correct. They can only say no. They can't say yes. So therefore, pitching them is not the right idea. However, I will say this, that they can, if you help them help you, that whole Jerry Maguire thing and help in getting that. So do relationships matter? I'm going to go ahead and take the first one here. Let me go back to sharing the screen. Thank you, Zachary. Great stuff. Appreciate that.
I do want to add, Dave, if you'll allow me, a side note, and this is completely public information. It's not classified. I'm not doing nothing. But there is some control to a degree. For example, the Federal Bureau of Prisons found themselves in some hot water at
did they
FTC
now?
Miami because the director there, the warden, was giving preferential treatment to certain contractors that were paying him back. So you see where I'm going with this?
That is not what you should be doing because that'll wind everybody up. In
Absolutely not.
It's funny they did
do
it to
have-
Bureau of Prisons.
Yeah.
That's where they're headed.
Absolutely. And that's probably where he's going to end up after this FBI investigation. But that being said, there is some control to a degree of the higher ups in these organizations, such as the Bureau of Prisons, as to who gets certain contracts, and they work with the procurement officers on that. So just a little side note.
I agree with that. You never want to cross that line.
No,
But the
definitely.
fact of the matter is, you don't have to cross the line. It still revolves around relationships. I'm going to show you one. This is Sam Radar. This is actually a poll from today's Sam Radar, and I want to show you why this is so important and why everybody's talking about it and why you want to do this now while it's still 349, because it's not going to be 349 for long. I'm just telling you, it is blowing up, and FBC, because of what we just talked about with the FBC and that conference, because I'll be there. And so is a lot of Sam Radar people who are already committed to coming because they know what's coming down the pipe. So here we have something today, right? So if we take a look, this happened recently. I'm going to just pull this out so you can see it. This is an award that happened on the 2nd, right? So just a couple weeks ago. And here's the amount. The amount is $43,800. And look at this number of offers received. It says right here. It doesn't say. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And what this was is just a NAICS match. So if you're doing 541611, I'm telling you, you never saw it. If you're monitoring 541611 any place, except with Sam Radar, you'll see it. But the idea here is to say, okay, nobody, it says there is blank. So what does that mean? That means the vast majority of times there's always an outlier, but the most of these is no competition because 0 means 1. And they just didn't fill it in. They don't have to fill it in. But that means no competition for this amount. And while, Sally, you still here? Or are you jumping on a plane?
I think she had to get on the plane 11.
You had to get on a plane. I wanted to say that one of the things.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
All right. So Sally, tell us how you do it, because I know you like to specialize on LinkedIn, right? So being able to reach these contracting folks, we can do it with Sam Radar, but do relationships matter, and how do you reach them on LinkedIn? She there? She's not there.
Muted herself.
I don't know. She's kind of coming and going. She's getting on a plane. But I'll tell you that one of the places where you are, right, where you find key decision makers is LinkedIn, and that's a backdoor entry into them through that. Now, not a lot of folks, they may be on LinkedIn and aren't very active. So you got to watch and see what's happening there. But that's one place that I would say go in there. And Julie, you use Sam Radar. So what do you do it for? How do you do it with Sam Radar when you do it?
Well, I tried the whole doing the research and putting the spreadsheet together and telling him what I did and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't listen to you and I got no response. So then I was like, okay, maybe Dave knows what he's talking about since he's sold more than me. So when I get the ones, and it's not the opportunities, it's
Right.
the ones that actually have been done. And then there's the buyer, and I just click on their email and I say, I saw you just did a contract for X amount on X date with X person. I do something similar. Can we talk? And that's when somebody wrote back and said, sure. And I was like, sure. Oh, okay. And so then I set it up and I, again, didn't listen and didn't know who I was. I mean, I looked up who he was, but I didn't connect that he was a contract officer, not a program person. And so I told him what I did. I had 8 minutes, spent 4 or 5 of them telling him what I did. And he just had a blank look on his face. And at the end, he said, well, I like to buy with I always forget the name of it, the
Simplified acquisition.
Simplified acquisition. And I said, oh, that's how I do it. And he said, it has to be under 250. I said, all my contracts are under 250. And he goes, oh, then all of a sudden he lit up and I had 1 minute left with him. So, so anyway, he asked me to send him some stuff and I did, but nothing was kind of coming up, but that's started the relationship. That was just last month, but I have a tickler on there now to follow up with them and say things, because it's short, fast, and to the point. That's And
Short, fast, and to the point. So you earn the right to be able to talk with them. You talked about buyer speak with the buyers. That's the contracting officers. That's what we're talking about here. So you moved from in the winnable opportunity matrix, you moved them from an unknown. They didn't know who you were into at
Right.
least, hey, we're talking about my language, simplified acquisition, and you learn something from them and how they operate. And now you're starting to move into the green. And it's a matter of time for you following up because you got to be persistent, right? It doesn't just all of a sudden bippity boppity boo happen now.
Mhm.
To your point, you now have a relationship that you didn't have before. And that is
Right.
that's what we're using. That's what you want to use Sam Radar to do. I appreciate you letting me know about that. And is Rafa here yet? I guess he's decided to bail on us. Did he make it? I don't see.
No, not yet.
We do have Alice Ann. You there, Alice Ann? Friends? I see a hand raised. Do you want to talk? Or did you do that? You have your hand raised on purpose, or were you just clapping for Zachary? Could have been. I don't know when you actually did that. I will. So Greg, let's chat for a minute from your perspective on the power of relationships. And I'm gonna pull the.
Dave, I'm on the plane, so I just want to make a shout out for Sam Radar if you need me.
Okay, cool. I was giving you a shout out for LinkedIn. We'll talk about that. We'll make sure everybody knows about LinkedIn next time when you're not on a plane. So Greg, real quick, you have sometimes you have relationships because you've done contracts over and over and over with an agency. Tell us about what you did with DECA.
Well, DECA, the Defense Commissary Agency with headquarters in Virginia, we've done. They buy a lot of things, a lot of services, in addition to a lot of products. And one of the things that they do is at every military base, there's a commissary, a grocery store, and they put contractors in there to stock the shelves and clean the floors and operate the warehouse, receive the pallets of product off the truck and organizing all that. And when we started in 1995, that was an industry that coming from our previous company, we had developed experience and capabilities and success in. So that was one of our footholds when we started DK in 95. And we're closing in probably on about 50 of these 5-year contracts. We're about to get another one in Virginia awarded very soon. And because we had success with them, but it was something where we can build off of it, because the same office in Fort Lee, where DECA is headquartered,
Right.
They issue the solicitations and they receive the proposals, they evaluate them and award the contracts. It's the same team. So there's some continuity where you can gain some traction. And as I've said, in over 28 years, we've gained quite a bit of traction. We won, I think, 5 last year, and we've just awarded our second, I think, for this year. And so you can, without knowing them, we don't go and have meetings with them. We're not friends with them. We're not in the proposals. We're working behind the scenes, but we get an understanding of the agency without having a direct relationship with them, if that makes sense.
So this is the other part of the equation. So because of your past performance, right? You get to be able to also know about the scope of work, maybe even get your fingerprints on it a little bit. That this is what you did in the past. This is what we did in the past. We've proven that we can do these things effectively. And because you've written those proposals in the past, you're already a known quantity.
We had a strategy in 95 that was successful for us. And those strategies have changed many, many, many times. And we're kind of in a new strategy now on pricing, where some other companies had come in, because it's the same group. The same usual suspects are at the end on all of these things. And we couldn't figure out how they were so low. Well, I think we figured out how they were so low, and we have a new strategy where we're able to compete without it costing money out of the contractor's hand. Believe it or not, you can bid lower without it costing you money. And I'm not going to get into it because it's our strategy.
Because that's your strategy and your secret.
But
be that way, man. I love it.
It's continuing to educate yourself and improve and work at it. And the competition makes you work at it.
Yep. And it goes to this part of it where you were just talking about the usual suspects come up. The usual suspects are these folks that are on the short list, either because the buyer knows who those folks are as well as you. So you're on the short list already because they know who you are. And how you get on that is, and from your perspective, and I love your perspective. I don't always agree with your perspective, but I love it because you do things to help folks win. Real quick, we'll pop this open for any questions that you have, because that was great information on relationships, being able to identify those. We'll talk about how you find and interact with decision makers in just a minute. Any questions? Raise your hand. Pop it in the Q&A. I haven't seen anything in the chat per se. Yeah, Edward, will you share the slides after the webinar? We won't, but we will have the video.
That's going to be next week, right?
What's that?
That'll be next week before you send any of that out, right?
It'll be we finalize the video, make it look nice, and then we'll send it out. I will throw this in there because I think somebody else was asking for that earlier.
Claudia Brown says, does PTAC help? And the answer is sometimes, right? It's a free service. It's usually retired people working out of a university. And I ask people who use PTAC, and results vary. Some are relatively helpful, most are not.
So you get into this question now, the hot seat question? Is that what you're getting to?
No, go right ahead.
I was, because you're actually leading into it, and I missed one, and you can put in PTAC if you want to. But the hot seat question number 3, how do you find and interact with decision makers? Sam.gut, FPDS, Oz the Booze, Agency Forecast, Industry Days, LinkedIn, or samradar.com. Everybody should click that. I'm just kidding. If you don't know about it, don't click it. But yeah, if you want some help, we'll talk about that. And Julie, I'm going to pull you up again to talk about this from the standpoint of interacting. And you mentioned you're reaching out to people, and your key piece is that you're sending them a novel every time you do it, and you have 15 capabilities statements and all your NAICS codes and everything. You're telling them everything you do as soon as you reach out to them, right?
That's what I did before. But now
you're a speech writer, for God's sakes. You like to write things.
I wanted to explain it clearly. But I find that it's small bites and small steps, because I'm sure they get a million. Like, for example, one of the things I do is I read screenplays for contests, and the ones that are 90 pages, because they can be 90 to 120 pages, I read all the 90-page ones first.
Why?
Because they're shorter, I can get through them, I can get more done, I feel like I've accomplished something, And if they start off really bad, I skip to one that starts off really good, because I can get through it faster. And I'm sure it's the same concept, that like they get 100 emails, and if there's one that's one sentence long and says, can I talk? They say, sure. I mean, I literally got a response that said, sure.
Government employees are short and sweet. That's just how they do it.
And so you can tell that they were just like, oh, that's an easy one. So now I've got it off my plate, right? Yeah, so the longer ones, I'm sure you're the last one they reply to, and then they go home, because they don't get to you.
There's a lot of truth there. And Carrie is saying, my experience with PTAC here in Atlanta is, hold on a second, I missed it. It's been excellent. And there's nothing wrong with PTACs. There's nothing wrong with them. And using them and having good knowledge, if you're brand new into the system, they're at least going to show you some of the pieces of the system. Mm-hmm. They're also not decision makers, and they're not in the business of being the promotional component or marketing component to help you reach decision makers. They can help you understand some of the concepts, absolutely, and very, very good. And they want to do good things, folks. They want to do good things. And the challenge is that if you're going to them saying, hey, help me market, help me get to these decision makers, that's not their role. So that's the piece with that. So I just want to make sure you knew. And
can I just add about Congress? Because we're going to talk
absolutely. About Congress is part of this.
Is that they're technically not the decision makers. Like, they're not going to write you a letter that says, hire Julie Branson, but they will say, Julie Branson has has put in her bid for this or is looking to do such and such. We hope you'll give her a full and fair consideration. And then they usually do like a little sentence about kind of what you do if you give it to them. And then you include it in your bid, or if you have a protest, you know, say, I understand that she's submitted a protest. I hope you'll give fair and full consideration. But what it does is it shows that, you know, one, that you know what you're doing, two, that you're connected, and three, that they're being watched. And everybody, you think that they don't want to be watched, but they do, because every year they got to get funding, right? And who has the purse strings? The members of Congress, right? So, yeah.
And we have it from
That's another relationship, but it's back to your point, bigger point, is it's a relationship, right? Because they may want to come tour your facility or meet with you or whatever, but yeah, if you go to the class, we'll tell you all the benefits, but it's another relationship to help make you stand
it's a
out.
way that you can, it's all about leverage, right? So PTAC you can leverage, for OSDBOs you can leverage, Congress you can leverage, and it's not leverage for evil intent or anything like that. Is, hey, leverage it for the well-being of my business. I want to share this out real quick, because this next slide, I knew a lot of people were going to say industry days, 50% said industry days, and therefore I'm going to be self-promoting, and it's really a partnership that we have with the Federal Business Council. This is the event you want to go to, and I'll pop that in one more time. And I do want to say what Alice Ann said. PTAC refused to work with me because of miscommunications. So what are my ways to get help? I want a live person here at office to work with me daily to reach my goals. Wow. We definitely can talk about that. And is there somebody who can rescue, improve, like Bar Rescue or Hotel Impossible? I love it, Alice Ann. I'll tell you what, there's enough people here that'll help you get to where you want to go. And if it's not one of us is going to know somebody to help you get to where you want to go, Alice Ann. So you're in the right place. And so with that, Greg, you want to pop in on any of that relationship beyond what you said?
Well, I mean, when we talk about relationships, as we have, for a lot of people, particularly if you're trying to figure out how to get started and you don't have any relationships, you're looking to make relationships not just with agencies, but also with established contractors, so that you can get on as a subcontractor. And ideally, you're going to get on with a prime contractor as a subcontractor in a role in which you are interacting with the customer. So you're developing a relationship with the prime as well as with the customer, and you can grow from a subcontractor into a prime that way.
Right on. I couldn't agree more. Carrie Aiken, you want to pop up and say something? I know you had your hand raised. I wasn't sure if that was on purpose.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. So what do you do, Carrie?
We do HVAC work. We specialize in ductwork restoration. We do a lot of DoD work and federal and education.
Awesome.
I know I've had great experience with PTAC. I just want to, give them. And I know I've done work with different offices. They're not all the same, even here within Georgia. But they actually have helped me a great deal, both in terms of registrations and also responding to RFPs, but also with contacts. And they've, directed me to people, made referrals. Our people here, a lot of them are ex-DOD people, and they're pretty keyed in. And I know it's not the same, every office is going to be a little bit different. But if anybody there wants to connect with me on LinkedIn and just talk about my experience with PTACs, I'd be more than open to that.
And to your point, Carrie, it really depends on the individual, and that's really what we're talking about. Whether it's relationships trump everything. First of all,
Yep.
If you have a relationship, you'll be able to get, at least, like Julie said, hey, give me the time of day so I can, at least I'm in the mix. But without having a relationship, you can't get in the mix. And that's one of the pieces that, from my perspective, and I love what you have to say. And I have great experiences with some OSDBOs and small business liaisons or small business specialists as well, who have really helped me get to where I wanted to go. Did a lot of work with the VA because of the folks that were there, and creating from the small business expos that they did, right? So it's not all bad. I just want to make sure that everybody knows we want to be selling the right people, and definitely using PTAC, OSDBU's, small business liaisons as well as we can. And I think what you just said, Greg, is really pertinent as well, is that, hey, you might not be ready to prime yet. And you might not be ready to do the types of things. And so teaming with people is really important as well. So I really appreciate that insight. And that's part of what we're talking about today is our number one job is to build relationships. And what I'm going to tell you is that if you're going to be successful, number one, manage your expectations. Love what you said, Irene. Hey, it's not easy. And I love what you said, Peter. 60% of 8As after proctology exam that they got don't get any business.
Right.
And 80% of GSA contract holders don't get business. This is the reality of it. And don't listen to anybody that's blowing sunshine, and don't think you have something that's so unique and you're so special that you're going to win just because you're you. And they're going to change their rules for you. They're not going to do it. And don't start overlaying your corporate 30, 60, 90 in their world, or your desire as an entrepreneur to just bowl through things. Act like you belong, and you will belong. Look like you belong. That's what Raphael does. Get proactive. That's part of the process with Sam Radar. It's part of the process with ISI Federal. But being persistent in developing the relationships. Do not rely on other people to have the relationship for you. That's not what you want. You want the relationship. You need to own that relationship. You're the one that needs to have it. Because as soon as that person leaves, poof, it's gone. And make sure you persevere and you stay at it, and to continue with it. And I'm going to talk about one more thing as we're getting out of here. I do want to have, if you want any help, let me see if this is the right one. Okay. Really do this. So I'm going to, with me speaking at the event with the FBC, I've been working on this for 2 years. So this is a primer for that. We have been working to develop Sam Radar and what's about to happen. Everybody that signs up between now and 4/19 is going to get preferential treatment. Everybody that's already on Sam Radar knows what I'm talking about. You know that you're getting preferential treatment, and you're going to continue to get preferential treatment forever because you helped us build us to that first level. We're past the first level. We're into level 2. You want to lock down your Sam Radar right now because it's not going to be $349, and it's not going to be $499 for long after that, because we're going to restrict the market. We can only handle 4,000 customers, period. And we're going to be at 1,000 before you know it. We're already well over 250. So we're already a quarter of the way there to get to the 1,000. So we're already there. It's blowing up. And I really appreciate everybody's doing it, but I want to drive home that there's so many benefits that are coming down the pipe. We already know with the Federal Business Council, there's going to be special things that are going to be happening. And some of you know that because of yesterday. I let a little bit out of it. But there, so you can certainly reach out. Rob, put your stuff in there, or just go to samradar.com. You'll wind up getting there. Any additional questions before we jump? We'll get you out of here. I will. So let me know. Do we have anybody else with the hand raised? I think we got with you, Carrie. So I'm going to lower your hand. If anybody else wants to chat, let me know. We could do that. Coming up on GovBrief tomorrow, if it's FPDS, just check it out. There's a whole bunch of things that are happening there. Greg's going to be there. Tricia Callahan's going to be talking about the Guard, FEMA, VA, HHS with Hebel. That's going to be happening. Just watch govbrief.us if you'd like to find out about doing things like FedRAMP certification or some additional things, reaching out to the Govies. Let us know. Any last minute questions before we pop? Otherwise, get to yourself to GPC. It's going to be too much fun. It's certainly in the session that I'm doing. 3 to 4 is where I'm slotted to speak. And if you'd like to see a little bit more for Sam Radar, you can stick around. But we want to make sure we get out of here. Make sure that you're we're at noon. Can you believe I did it, Greg?
I thought there was no way.
There's no way. So I did it by noon. So any last minute questions, and let us know. what you got. And so, are you coming up for the event, Greg? You gonna be there?
No, I'm not. Is this
Why?
one day? Is it one day?
One day. Who
Maybe.
knows? Maybe.
Maybe.
Man, I'd love to have you there. Irene, love to have you there too. Peter, if you want to swing down, you're in Florida right now, right, Peter?
Yeah, I have a commitment in Florida, but I'm going to see if I can rearrange it.
It's going to be too much. It's going to be fun. So I will dive into Sam Radar just a little bit if you want to stick around. But otherwise, we'll let you guys get out of here and sell something. Because guess what? The main reason I want to say this is you're not in the business of doing research. And if you're researching, you're not selling. So let the system do the research for you so that you have the time to sell. And all we're talking about is like $12 a day. That's half an hour of one of your lower employees' time. And I'm telling you, if you're not getting more than the benefit of that, then kick it to the curb. But you're not going to kick it to the curb because I'm telling you, you do it, it's going to work. So you can sign up on for Sam Radar, and we'll continue the conversation in just a minute. I'm going to end that poll. We got a bunch of things. We got stuff for Rafa and folks there. So I appreciate it. And Irene, I got to get you in that questionnaire too. I didn't have you in there. My
no worries.
apologies. My apologies. If you want Irene,
What's the GPC website? Is it gpc.com.gov?
it's FBC GBC, I think. Hold on. I'm going to give you this link. I'm just going to copy the link and the 50% off code and pop it in.
$50 off.
$50 off, yeah. So it's fbcinc.com. These guys are special. And we've been ever since we did VFedCon, for those of you who don't know what that is, we did an industry day, the first ever 100% virtual industry day, which Greg Clark was part of. And we
had a wardrobe malfunction that day.
You did? I don't. Was that oh yeah, because you started out. Was that without a shirt or with that?
Yeah, that was without a shirt before I realized the
wasn't there for that. I didn't see.
Eating my breakfast with my shirt off.
Very funny. I do remember that now. That's what happens when you do the first of anything, right, Greg?
Oh my God.
But yeah, FBC does this stuff that's what they do for a living. So yeah, if you're let me go back to that right there. So that's it right there. And I'm going to pause this for a second. If you want to stick around for just a minute, I will open up Sam Radar and I'll show you kind of the things that came in today.
I got to bounce.
All right, do your thing.
Likewise.
All right, guys. Awesome. Great to see you.
Thank you guys.
You
Great
bet.
to see you.
Good to see you. So
Take
this
care.
is exactly what Sam Radar looks like. And all I'm going to do is say, you have a couple of options. Remember what Greg just said about reaching out to primes? You have the ability to reach out to the prime, to track the prime, look at the prime activity. And that means that every time, if you're paying attention to what's happening here, we have the ability to just reach out to these decision makers. More importantly, if you want to reach out, if you say, hey, I want to drive a wedge between these characters, I want to make sure that I am starting to build a relationship with Peter Allen with the Department of State because I do staffing. And that's what I want to do. I want to help them do staffing. So you can drive the wedge between the prime by reaching out directly to Peter Allen, which is what Julie was talking about. And the cool thing is, if you're using Outlook, all you have to do is do this and boom, you can say, hey, I want to talk to you about the award. Exactly what Julie was talking about. I want to talk about the award to this company just a few days ago. Now I'm on the end of the food chain, so I'm not getting the most updated stuff. These are just examples. So most of the time, you're looking at something that just got awarded yesterday. So you're pulling the thread on something that's important to the buyer. Very simple. It's important to the buyer, and they don't know why it's important to you yet. And that's why it works, because you can say, hey, can we chat about that? Sure. The next thing you know, you're dialoguing with a buyer that has never met you before. And then you're injecting yourself into the key decision-making parts. Hey, let me play next time. Because I can't knock your socks off and show you I'm really good at this if you're not letting me play. So this is the key focus, because it reveals the 98% that are most important to you. The system learns you and you are learning from the system at the same time. Then you can engage, you can act. And it's not complicated, and it's not 50,000 things to do. It's 1 or 2 or 3. And if you don't have something, then the system doesn't have anything for you that day. But just about every day, you're going to be getting this and saying, hey, reach out to this buyer right now because they're swimming in your pool. It is revolutionary. It's not happening anywhere else. It doesn't work like Deltek. It doesn't work like anything else that you've seen, GovTribe or anything else that you've seen. If you've seen any of those things, you know it doesn't operate that way. It does the research for you so that you can do the job of selling. One of the biggest things that you're going to have to do is let go of that research. There's a couple folks are like, I just love doing the research. That's fine. Then this isn't for you if you love doing the research. If you get paid for doing the research for your company, you'll probably love it because you'll do it faster. You have additional information that you can chase down. However, this is made to keep you from doing the research yourself. And you tune it up. We have real live people. Zachary, who did the Pi Day thing, helps you tune it up, make sure you get what you want out of the system. And the most important thing is you do this piece right here. You go to samradar.com. You want to start the free trial because this $150 off is not going to be here for long, especially with what happened with Federal Business Council. So get signed up. You can try it for free. After we get to 1,000, it's not going to be free anymore. And you're going to have to lock in for a year. It's going to be crazy because we can only handle 4,000 total people. That's all we can do. So if you want in on this and be part of it's a movement like you wouldn't believe. It's going to be fun. So sign up, try it out, see about how the system works for you, and then keep it because once the $349 is gone, it's not coming back. So there you go. And Julie says SBA and Vet Administration, both of these with big crews. Awesome. Love it. And if you're and if you want to, I definitely want to point you back to this as well. I will be speaking, and there's going to be special stuff happening. We'll have a VIP event for anybody that signs up for Sam Radar and they come to the event. You'll have access to the VIP room. There's going to be 2 suites and a hotel right next door. So please sign up for both and make the investment in time and effort to do it. So we're going to get you guys out of here. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking around. If there's anything I can do for you ever, let me know. And let me just throw that up one more time. And that way, if you need to reach out to me, you can. Got my email, my direct phone there. But I appreciate you guys. Carrie, thanks for the great feedback on the PTAC folks, and really appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Happy selling. We'll see you next month on April 11th.